Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the Big Ramadan Show. Now, our guest this evening is a volunteer senior ambassador from Muslims in Rail, and he's been a career-long advocate for equality and diversity in the community and workplace, and is a board member of Crawley Ethnic Minority Partnership.
Yes, he is a company director of Fairways Business Services Limited and a principal engineering services consultant. He is from an electrical engineering background and has served for over 30 years in the power industry and has worked as a director on some of the UK's mega rail projects for high-speed rail and cross-rail. Assalamu alaikum, a very warm welcome. There was so much there, and we've been catching up a bit backstage.
Yes, 30 years in that intro.
Incredible.
We've just tried to compress it down to just now. So you've had a long career, and I think the most interesting part about your journey is where you started off. So I kind of want to go back that 30 years of where you started.
Yeah, I started off as an apprentice back in the 80s, so it was a bit of a different era, a bit of a different time for Muslims working in the industry. Right. It was a little bit lonely, I think, because you got your faith, you got your work, you're surrounded by people who don't perhaps know a lot about your faith.
True, yeah.
And you're trying to find your way, and you need help, but there really wasn't a network, or people to go to. Well, alhamdulillah, now we've got Muslims in Rail.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow. Well, tell us how that's changed over the years. I mean, I don't even think I was born 30 years ago.
That's why they call me senior, right? I'm the old one.
That's it. Well, give us some wisdom then, like what's it like today?
Well, I mean, back in the 80s, there wasn't really a lot of knowledge in employers in terms of accommodating Muslims working in the industry, and even just accommodating faith. So, there weren't places to pray. You perhaps wouldn't be able to get time off. People wouldn't really understand what fasting was about. But now, today, alhamdulillah, employers are very receptive. And what we've found in Muslims in Rail, they want to find out what to do. They want help, and they're very engaging. And mashallah, thanks to a lot of the work that me and my colleagues in Muslims in Rail have done, we've got a network spanning nationally of over 1,000 members. We've got prayer facilities, which is where it all started off from. That, again, I think it's grown. There's like 70 prayer facilities.
Wow.
So, alhamdulillah, it's all about engaging and, asking questions and educating and making people aware.
And you were paramount in that change. I mean, let's be honest, it must have been very difficult for you, going into, and you said you were the only brown face in the pack, and it must have been a difficult transition in actually, creating this space for Muslims and educating, people that are not Muslim to kind of make them understand this is what Muslims do. And that's not an easy transition, is it?
It's not. I mean, Muslims in Rail came about because there was a bunch of brothers, myself included, working in Network Rail, and we wanted a space to pray. Right. So that's what started the ball rolling. And then I explained my kind of feeling of real loneliness, working in the industry, and how it would be great to have a network of people to connect and to connect up with. So, they're the three things that we do in Muslims in Rail. We connect, we grow and inspire Muslims working in the rail community and non-Muslims as well, to educate and help them to understand what our beautiful faith is all about.
Do you know what? That's really inspiring, especially for the youth. And I say the youth, but it's true that apprenticeships are such a popular way now of, getting into these types of industries. What makes this type of industry really attractive for those young apprentices or those seeking to really go into this industry?
Well, I think I was chatting to you earlier on. I started my career off as an apprentice back in the 80s, starting off as an electrical engineer, a craft apprentice. Alhamdulillah, I ended up being a director on one of the biggest engineering projects in Europe. I never dreamed that would be possible.
Yeah.
But apprenticeships are really attractive because you can earn while you learn, get your qualifications, get some great skills, and then your employers can then help you on your journey for a degree potentially, and carve out your career from there. So alhamdulillah, later on in my degree, my employers paid for my master's in business administration.
Wow.
So I think there's a great opportunity for young people and a really exciting time for engineering, especially in Europe and in the UK. Some of these projects are once in a lifetime projects, absolute goldmine of opportunity. High speed 2. I rode the Elizabeth line in, immense feeling of pride riding on something that you've been involved in building.
Yeah.
And while you earn, I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I was waiting quite a while for the Elizabeth line to jump in because that is so convenient for me, that line, honestly. When I'm not in the car, I'm on the Elizabeth line. But yeah, I think it's, that feeling of being proud of your accomplishment and actually getting to be a part of it as well. So when we're looking at Muslims in Rail, have you got anything coming up for Muslims in Rail?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of activities. If anybody looks it up on our webpage, you'll see that right now we've got Iftar, Discover Ramadan, Iftar events going on across Birmingham, Glasgow, and Manchester and London.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we've got a big event at East London Masjid,
where
we've got our non-Muslims colleagues coming along, and we've got the Network Rail executive team coming. Amazing. Some of them are actually fasting to experience what it's like to keep fast. So I think that's amazing. Something I would never have dreamed of when I was back in the 80s, starting off in my career.
Yeah. And I think Islam Channel will be present tomorrow at the Rail Iftar, so that will be a really nice experience.
To seeing you guys there,
We'll be able to update our viewers on how that goes on. I've got a friend that works for Rail, and we did plan to actually go to the Iftar last year. So we may be able to get in there as well. I think it's be for a good evening.
If the menu's good, no.
It's fully booked, so it's very popular.
Yeah.
Well, we're Islam Channel, we might be able to make our way in.
You're on the list. Yeah.
We'll bring a camera with us and just kind of update our viewers. No, honestly, I think this is really incredible. Especially kind of the opportunities when you look at education and things like that. Just want to ask though, like in terms of Ramadan itself, what initiatives are you prioritizing at the minute because of the month of Ramadan?
So as I mentioned, we've got the Discover Ramadan events at the mosques just to make people more aware of what it's like for Muslims at work, in the workplace, in Rail. But also the other one we've got, which is very popular, is the Fast Money campaign. We started this off in Network Rail, and this was just about putting our lunch money aside that we would normally spend on lunch and saving it all up together for charity. Fast Money is raising money for the Turkey and Syria earthquake appeal, which Muslim Aid are supporting. So it's a really worthy cause to help. We're so lucky in the world that we live in, and there's so much suffering and so much support that could be provided, and that's something that we're doing through our small part in our campaign.
And I know you did some work with Turkey and Syria too.
Yeah, and I think it's great to hear that every Muslim, whether it's a company, a business, or whether it's an individual, saw that there was a need and got involved. And I commend you for doing so and bringing the association in. So just in terms of being a Muslim, being on the route and trying to kind of practice your faith, how difficult or how easy is that? And how, because it's obviously changed over the years. But is it still quite difficult?
It has changed. It used to be difficult. It's not great trying to wash your feet in the sink, let's face it. These things have changed. Things have become a lot more easier.
So do you kind of have wudu facilities and things like that?
We've got wudu facilities.
Wow.
Amazing.
Network Rail was one of the first places I worked where we had purpose-built wudu facilities.
Mashallah.
And that was all about engaging with the leadership team. Some of our colleagues in the rail industry work on trackside, so they work in some conditions where you're going to be exposed to the weather. It may get hot, you might be working shift work, you've got fatigue to manage. So Muslims in Rail have done a employers briefing. We've been doing it for about 6 years now, just to give employers some idea
Yeah.
of how things can be reasonably adjusted in the workplace, just to make it easier for people who are fasting. I'm lucky I'm in the office. I don't have to deal with all of that. But I do find my battery's getting a little bit flat towards the afternoon. So you can prioritise and move your workload around.
Do you know what? That's like incredible because
It
you know,
is.
like you said, it's changed so much. So what advice do you have for Muslims who want to work in rail then?
Well, what I would say is,
what are your top 2 tips in summary? Let's just put you on the spot. Top 2 tips.
all right, top 2 tips.
Yeah.
Go for it. Be yourself, right? Your faith and your work is not mutually exclusive. Bring your whole self to work and be proud of who you are. And alhamdulillah, we're in a very inclusive, multicultural society in the UK. There's great opportunity in rail. And you're not alone. Muslims in rail is here to support you.
Amazing, love that. So go for it, and you're not alone.
And you're not alone. That is such a good
Such a good reminder. So we
to kind of end this segment on. But we are going to go off to a break. But do stay tuned, as we've got so much more to come on the Big Ramadan Show.